Hey everyone, welcome to the Timmins Museum's virtual workshop series where we do art in the safety of our home. This workshop we're going to be doing something free. And we mean free as in you're just going to be using stuff from around your house. There is no cost or kit that you're going to have to be paying for. So this week we are working on doing framed dried flowers. So I'm going to go over everything that you're going to need to grab from around the house and outside, and then show you guys how it's done. Let's get started. So the first thing that you guys are going to do is collect your flowers. Now you might be wondering, which type of flowers should you be using? And it doesn't necessarily matter. You can use any flower, but the ones that are easiest to work with are the ones with thin petals. So if you want to use maybe pansies or cosmos or daisies, anything with a thin petal, they make the pressing and drying process a lot easier. If you use bigger, thicker flowers, there is a chance that there might be mold that forms, and that could ruin the whole process. So I would stick to, if this is your first time, just doing the thin petal flowers. Another thing to think about is if you're picking flowers from outside, you want to make sure you're picking them at their peak time. So when they're full and lush, and also you won't want to pick them when they're like right after the dew in the morning. So just wait until they're a little dry. Then you can pick them right at the stem, just cut them from the ground or pull them out if you want to, and they'll be ready to use. So if you've got your flowers, or if you haven't, head outside now, grab them. You can even use fresh flowers that you might have got from the store too, that, you know, maybe someone gave you some flowers and you just want to dry them and frame them. So you can also do that too. So go grab your flowers, and then we're going to move on to the step of making our flower press. So our next step is to create our homemade flower press. So what you're gonna do is you can grab something, and all this stuff you're gonna grab from around the house. If you have a thick book, so maybe you have like an old textbook, maybe from your university and college days, or you have an old phone book. I know those aren't around a lot, but you can use a thick book, or you can even use, if you want, some really thick cardboard. Then you're gonna wanna grab some paper towel if you're using some thick flowers, and a belt or a scarf. And you don't even have to use the belt or scarf. It's just gonna be to tie up your book really tightly. But if you don't have a belt or scarf that you wanna use, you can just stack more books on top of your book that has your flowers drying in it. So go grab all those things, and then we're gonna make our press. This next step involves arranging your flowers inside your homemade press in order for them to press and dry properly. So you can see in the picture beside me that I have now put my flowers in between the pages of my book. And because they're small, thin flowers, I'm not using a paper towel, but if you're using a thicker flower, just put a sheet of paper towel underneath the flower. Make sure you're placing them and arranging them the way that you want them to dry. So if you want the petals all spread out, make sure that you place them on your sheet in the book as you want it to dry. Then you'll put another piece of paper towel on top, and then you'd be able to close your book. I would suggest you can even do on different pages different types of flowers. So you can do that throughout your book, and once they're all placed, then we will be making sure to add a lot of pressure so that they dry properly. As I said in the step before, we're gonna have to add a lot of pressure, a lot of weight to our book to make sure that it dries in place the way that we want it to. So you're gonna have to put a lot of weight. So either you're going to grab a scarf like I've done here and just tie it really tightly around the book. You can also use a belt if you want to use that. Or like I said before, you can have your book stacked underneath of a bunch of other books. And then you're just going to let it sit and dry. So now we're in for the long haul. The drying process does take quite a while. So you're gonna be wanting to leave your flowers drying in your book for 2 to 3 weeks. I let my thicker ones, my larger flowers, dry for 3 weeks. And then you wanna make sure that you're not touching them, you're not moving them while they're in this drying process. And then after the 2-3 weeks, you can open up your book to check out how they look. All right, so drying time is up. We've waited the 2 to 3 weeks to make sure that our flowers are thoroughly dry. And now you're going to want to be arranging them in the frame that you're planning on using. Just make sure that at this point you're working just very gently with the flowers. They're really fragile at this point. So make sure that you have the frame and where you're wanting to place them ready to go, so that when you remove them from the book or from the paper towel, that you're placing them somewhere that they're gonna be staying, because you don't wanna play with them too much because then it could ruin them. So when you're arranging them, you can use maybe a little bit of a dab of glue or two-sided tape if you want to make sure that they stay in place. But if I didn't do that, but it can, if you want to, it can help you just to keep the flowers in place. And then you can put your backing on your frame, and voila, your dried framed flowers are complete. So your dried frame flowers are complete. You can hang them anywhere in your house and display your work that you've done. Please do share with us any photos that you might have taken to show off what you've done. We love to see your work. So you just can post a picture on your personal social media accounts and just do #TimmonsMuseum, or you can send us a photo on our Facebook Messenger as well. And I really do hope that you enjoyed yourself and that you stay tuned for our next virtual workshop series.